And just like that. And throw that away. Now, you can use Stoma paste, but I actually use the Stoma rings, which are really nice. I absolutely love them. So, you just take that out. And actually, this is too big for my stoma, so what I was told to do is break it in half. This is just like the paste, except it doesn't have alcohol in it, which actually is really nice because then if your skin is a little bit irritated, it doesn't stink because there's no alcohol in it. So,
did you test it to make sure that after you cut it open?
Oh, I should actually test it. Thank you. I'm going. Ooh. And it's always important to stay calm, unlike me where I just jumped. So good thing we had that, and my volcano was a little defective. So you just clean the skin off, no big deal, a little bit of stool on my hand, but you know, you learn to deal with it. By the way, I think it's good to mention that I was extremely germophobic before I got my stoma, especially about bathrooms, and now look at me, I'm playing in my own poop. So, I'm going to measure this to just see if it fits over. Looks like it's pretty good. So I just take that off. No, it's not too tight. I need another volcano. Thank you. I know, we'll take care of that afterwards. It's really important, I know it gets really frustrating, but if your stoma is leaking, it's really important to wipe that skin away with saline because just leftover stool residue on your skin is very irritating. You can kind of see that there's still a little bit of red where I had my leak last time. Okay, so, I should stool off of that. When you take your barrier ring, you want to warm it up in between your hands, and it's very pliable, very forgiving material. It's really great. So I was told to roll it like a snake or a worm, and okay, it needs to be a little bit longer, and just kind of stretch it a little bit, and just put it around your hole that you cut out. That seems pretty good. Then you can pat it down if you want. I really like this a lot better than the paste, because the paste is not as forgiving as this ring is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to clean off my skin because it leaked a little bit. So I'm just going to clean this off again with some saline solution. Thank you, and luckily I have a helper since I am still a little bit new at this. So, here we go. And the big thing about changing this, usually, you know, sometimes my stoma is very quiet, but if it's not, the key thing is to have patience because, you know, it can get frustrating when your stoma keeps being active, so that's what the marshmallows and the Imodium usually help with. So I like to, you know, just kind of fan it off a little bit. Let's try the volcano again. Sometimes this works great, just not today. So next, I'm going to use my stoma powder.
You've got a few red dots here, and I wonder if those
okay, so this is another thing that I have a problem with. I get this kind of yeast infection around my stoma, so it looks like just a bunch of little dots. I don't have it too bad right now, but we use this nystatin powder just on the area where it looks like it may have, you know, a little bit of yeast. And the rest, I use just the regular stoma powder. And you just kind of nicely put that around, kind of get it underneath too, where the stoma is. And then you want to brush it off so that there's just a little bit of stoma powder. Yes, she did, I know. I'm working on it. So, we went to a stoma nurse because I had like 3 leaks because my skin was in such bad shape. And she really brushed off the stoma powder so there was almost nothing left, kind of like that. So I'm just gonna try and imitate her because it seemed to stick really well. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So now you take your volcano off, hope that it doesn't leak, and stick this on. All right, so there we go. Now you want to warm up the wafer barrier kind of thing, so that's really important because then it kind of sticks to your skin and it just helps create a really great seal. While you're doing that, while it's sticking on, you can open it up and crease this. It just makes it a little bit easier to empty out. And then I usually, here, let me go grab it really quick. Sorry, my drink sticking out. I usually use just this lubricating deodorant. I usually put it in when I change it and sometimes when I empty it as well. It just helps for stool not to pancake onto your bag. So you just kind of put in what you think would be like a teaspoon worth and close it up. Just let it drip in a little bit. Yeah, I did. Okay, so you just 1, 2, 3, and then you snap it. And then you can work your way down around the stoma too, because that's usually where mine pancakes, and up around the sides. So just keep warming it. And while you're warming it, I make sure that I make my stomach as flat as it can be, in order to simulate that I'm standing up. And you want to remove your waterproof barrier and just kind of pat it down. Yeah, oh sorry, remove the backing to the waterproof barrier. Okay, just like that. Mine is actually really close to my belly button, my stoma is. So sometimes I have to cut a little bit of the waterproof barrier because it goes over my belly button, and when it does that, it doesn't get as good of a seal because, you know, it has nothing to stick to. So I'm just gonna snip, 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 just a little bit so it goes around it. And then you throw this away. And you hand your helper the scissors, and you just keep warming it up, warming it up. Also,
I'm so impressed with her. I just think she's amazing. So in the other videos that you watched, did they say why? I mean, she had that other drain.
I
She
tried
doesn't
going
ever
back just because I was curious as
Okay.
to the reason and if hers was permanent, but I couldn't find any
Okay.
information.
So we are going to be the first time educators for placing the bag on Kelly, right? So Logan and Kate, I don't want to be sexist. Would you pick up Kelly and put him on the table for me? I was gonna say Logan and Bryce, and then I didn't. Yeah, he's sweet.
Oh, okay. I didn't think it was.
Well, plus, you know, we always treat him like he's a patient. I guess you and I can look at it. So we're gonna place him up here.
Find out the arms.
It's very stiff
It
today.
is, I know. I could even put non-skid socks on. Oh, thank you. There he is.
I know, I was curious as
Thank you so much. If you are at Newton Medical for clinicals, I do not believe they have a stoma nurse there, do they? Okay, because when I was there with students a couple of years ago, we were the first people that educated the gentleman that had his new stoma. So it may be you and the nurse that do that first time education. So let's gather around. I'm gonna use your blanket to cover Kelly up, because he doesn't have any briefs on.
What's the risk of frozen bowel?
That's a great question. That is a fantastic question. What do you guys think? Okay, who wants to, we're gonna measure, I grabbed you because she fled.
Oh, I was just getting out. Can I flee?
You can flee. Maddie, do you wanna,
What am I doing?
well, first of all, we're going to measure,
Okay.
right?
Really get that small?
I guess
So,
if you have
does
a
she
big
only
tree,
have like
that's
one
what
little
it's
square of it? Why was hers
Well, because she knows how the size of hers. So why do you think they have different sizes of these?
Cause it's, aren't J tubes and G tubes, aren't those considered stomas as well? Would that be like this?
Well, I was thinking of little kiddos as well as whenever it's first new, it's gonna be swollen.
Do they fluctuate pretty heavily?
So,
I think it depends.
between, so,
Or activity level?
movement, yeah, depending, and we'll talk
So,
about.
yes, so, like if you open your stomach, you probably have to know the size of it.
Fantastic, excellent, okay.
What is it, 35 milliliters?
Milliliters. So, who has their scissors?
Not all.
No, they're over in the bed.
She did.
Go.
Okay. So here is our measurement right here. And then for us, we have the powder that she was talking about and the paste. You guys wanna put those around?
So what's the powder?
So the powder, what is the powder for?
To keep it from friction, from irritating your skin?
That barrier?
Well, the other one was her yeast.
Barrier? Yeah.
How do you close one of these? You roll it
So you
into
fold it. This one doesn't have
like a snap.
this,
I
the
saw
snap
that
on
one,
it.
but I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know how
these don't have one.
So how would you secure those ones? That
it
don't
would just fall out.
It would, well, we would get one. I mean,
Oh.
this is just
Just
because
the
it's in
bag.
our,
So can you reuse the snappies
it depends.
on the bag?
Is it
Mhm.
worth reusing the snappies? Like, yeah, if you
Well,
were in
it-
a bind, but.
So that is a fantastic question because I was wanting to ask what kind of populations do you think would struggle with being able to afford all of this stuff?
Geriatric.
So our geriatric population, our low-income people, do you think homeless people ever get
No.
colonoscopies?
Oh,
You need to go
yeah.
one bigger, cause it doesn't go
Yeah.
underneath.
They don't.
Right.
Mhm.
I need to go one bigger.
Okay.
Because it doesn't get, or you want it to kinda be tight.
So you want it to be snug, so it's gonna, so this is what's gonna go here,
Yeah.
so.
It kinda seems like it sits on the stoma a little bit.
Well, we want a good seal,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a good
Okay. It's really
Size.
hard to cut this stuff.
it is. And these are older. You guys wanna look and see? What do you think of her seal?
I think it looks good.
I do too. Because if you think about it, so when we take it off, and it's not exact either, right? And so she said it takes a little bit of time. So, you can't really get it down underneath there,
It's not as
because it's simulated,
yeah, it's
Okay.
rubber.
Alright, so, did everybody see, so that's the paste that she was talking about that she doesn't like.
She likes the
She likes
Like
that,
pliable
that
jelly.
ring.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she said the ring and the paste are the same thing, the only thing is the paste has alcohol in it.
alcohol.
And it
Yeah.
irritated
Right.
her skin.
Burned when
Yeah.
she put it on.
Yep.
Then there was irritation.
Because she also had very sensitive skin and the prior leakage, right?
I'm gonna put this on the pad. Just snaps.
Mm.
And
Would they
just-
put the sticky part on first and then attach the bag, or
Depends.
doesn't matter
It just depends.
on their preference?
Mhm.
Because you can change the bag without changing.
Mhm.
This, yeah.
Mhm. Yep, and then we put it on. And we can't put that on him because they've asked us not to place those, but then there you would have it.
Cool.
Okay.
Congratulations, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
How do most
Well, so-
people like secure it when they're like out and about? Like, how do most people, do they have like, you know, like a?
So they make like little bags that go over these too, that, so you can't really see them. One of my friends dad's had colon cancer and he just had like this little bag sling that went over him.
Mhm.
And so it really didn't look like anything.
Mhm.
It kinda looked like a little canteen or
Mhm.
something that he had on the front, but.
And they have little belts.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think about, so we said acceptance, and what are some other nursing issues that you can think of that you would talk to a young person?
Depression,
Swimming.
suicidal tendencies.
Okay. Sexual activity, right? Do you think that you are able to have a stoma and continue with sexual activity?
Yeah,
Yes.
she has a video about it.
Yes.
Like tread lightly, especially like the first few times, but
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Right,
And not-
yeah.
I've
Yep.
read a story about a stoma.
Oh.
It's not a good story.
Mhm. So those are things that we need to talk about, and those are the issues that people really don't want to talk about. They don't feel comfortable with it. And so it's up to us to be able to either find somebody that they feel comfortable talking with, and maybe they'll feel comfortable talking with you guys, because you guys are younger. That
So
might
if
be
we're
it.
teaching the first couple times, is that something that we talk about on like when they are checking out? Or is that like initial teaching conversation?
What do you think?
Probably when they're getting ready to leave, maybe?
I'd say it just
Or is
depends on
it
the
initial?
moment.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't wanna
I feel like you could
Yeah, I don't wanna overwhelm them like
introduce it
initially.
earlier, and then like gauge how they're feeling, and obviously they're not gonna wanna hear about it right then and there, cause it's new.
Right.
But as they're leaving and they're kinda, it's like reality settling in, like I'm gonna have this forever, they might be more open to learning how to live with it.
Yeah, so exactly, those are all right answers. So you would assess your patient and see where you are. If they won't even look at it, then
They're probably
Not
not
ready.
ready to talk about it.
they're not ready to think about anything else, are they? Right. And so we would just decide what are our nursing diagnoses, what are those interventions that we want to have. And we can also have somebody, you know, a home health nurse go in and talk to them, and we can write down our plan of what we think. Maybe these are the steps that they, you know, would need to get to that point.
So if they are willing to look at it, you would probably just walk them through it and have them do
Have
it
them do
themselves?
it, absolutely. So the gentleman that I was with a student, and he was one day post-op, and he was able to look at it and do everything. It was amazing. So,
What was his, background, like was he already married with kids, like,
he was married, he was older.
so he didn't really have to worry about the, like,
Sexual part.
well, not necessarily the sexual part, but like the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Cause he already had a wife, he
Everyone
already
probably
had
struggles
Yeah.
kids, and they're gonna be more happy that he's alive than the
Yeah.
fact that he has a bag taped
I
to his
wouldn't
stomach.
assume though, cause.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think it
assume.
just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just very amazed at his acceptance of it. So, did you remember if this is a skill that they would have to do in the
Mhm.
lab? Okay, so I will keep the stoma on Kelly to put him in the skills lab, and then I will have everything down there. I'll make sure that you have all the equipment that you need in case that's something that you draw.
So if we do it as a skill, are we gonna get counted off if we put the seal on and then the bag, or
No. No.
just make sure you put the powder and then put the seal on?
And we're just pretending, right?
And we're just
Yeah,
pretending.
yeah, and I don't know that this is a skill that we had in there,
Oh.
but if it is, yeah, we'll just keep that on him.
How often do stomas get like this big?
Well,
Is it like super?
when do you think a stoma might be
Like
bigger?
Like post-op? But
A
does it?
bigger person
Oh,
post-op.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So, now that we have this, and we have Kelly, and let's talk about some foods that he may want to avoid. Did you guys talk about that?
High
High
fat,
fat,
okay.
high high protein, right?
promote vegetables
Yeah.
Promote fruits
and fruits. That's what we wrote down.
and potatoes.
So, we want, at the beginning, we want more of a bland diet. Didn't you guys talk about
Oh,
that brat
slowly
diet? There you go.
reintroducing, yeah.
Slowly reintroducing.
Mhm.
And then, what about things like rice? Do you think that would be good?
No.
No.
Oh,
Wait,
is
why
that
not
like
rice?
little small things?
Probably
that
not
would get
corn.
caught, right?
Mm-mm, not corn, not anything with seeds.
Because it'll get caught like
Mm.
right in
Mhm.
stuff.
Things that are not easily digestible, all of that stuff.
Red meats.
And like Alex said, spicy, why do you think not something spicy?
It would irritate your back.
Right, cause spicy going in, spicy coming out, right? Okay.
So, I think, was it you that asked, is it, like, is it sensitive, like, does it always hurt them,
No.
or do they have any feeling to it?
No, no nerve endings.
No nerve?
Uh-uh,
Oh,
nope,
okay.
so it doesn't hurt at all.
They
even when it's
just-
brand new.
Just the skin around.
Just the
Mhm.
skin.
Yeah,
So
just
it's
that
more of
skin,
like
so
an
that's,
emotional
so that
and
skin integrity,
psychosocial aspect.
a
of
lot of
pain.
psychosocial, a lot of psychosocial stuff that goes on with it.
So she talked about draining the bag. How often do they actually have to change the bag?
That's a good question.
It probably just depends.
There's not like a specific, like if you've had it on this long, you should.
Well,
yeah,
I
is there
would-
like a max amount?
So I would think that there would be some time that you would wanna take that barrier off.
Probably once a week.
But when we were talking about like our homeless people and our marginalized populations, what do you think that they do?
Probably monthly or every couple months.
Question on Maria, so yeah, they do. So, yeah. Do you think that all of this stuff can get expensive?
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Very much so.
Which is silly because it's literally just plastic.
Yeah. And we happen to have Hollister, and then in the skills lab, there's some little baby ones.
Oh,
Yeah, they're,
really sad.
it is sad, yeah, they're,
Wouldn't
they are,
that be
they are
easier to
kinda
grow
sad.
up with then, if it was like, it's something you were born with, like, it's still gonna be hard either way, but
Yeah,
it's,
maybe.
you've never known anything different.
They
the
probably
image.
get used to it, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's
You
just
still are
be just
gonna
as hard.
hit high school at some point,
Yep, and then
regardless,
it'll get
then
hard
you're
all
like,
over
oh
again.
my
Mhm.
gosh, what is happening?
That would be difficult to go through high school.
Yeah, you like in the
You
locker
already
room,
have-
you're like in PE or something,
Mhm.
that would be so scary.
Okay, so today was last day of long-term
care.
right? Okay, do you guys wanna sit down? You don't have to stand up.
Should we put him back?
We can just leave them there.
Okay.
Cause
You
we're
look
just gonna,
comfy.
we're just gonna process for a little bit, for just a couple of minutes. You can just sit down. You have class at 4? Okay, yeah. You can go ahead and go. Yeah. What class do you have at 4?
Orchestra.
Oh, that's right. What was your greatest accomplishment in the long-term health care facility? Raise your hand if you have something. Yes.
Like not feeling nervous with the residents at all. Like
Okay.
I was 100% comfortable with what I was
Good.
doing.
We had a lot of confidence today too. Alex?
Getting over the fear of like killing someone.
That is a big fear. We talked about that day 1, didn't we? That was awesome. What about you guys back there? Greatest accomplishment, Logan, go.
Working with the patients. Like she said, I
Yeah.
wasn't too standoffish. Just got in there and did it.
Good. Maddie, do you have any breakthroughs while you were there?
Yeah, mine was pretty much the same thing, like today I actually felt like I could just jump in there and not be worried about doing every single little thing wrong.
That's what our group talked about a lot today. Yeah, we talked about professionalism and stuff. So how can you have that feeling, do you have a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah.
You do, okay.
Establishing therapeutic relationships with the residents.
Okay.
I just really like them. So.
I know, I do too. I love it. So how can you bottle up those feelings of confidence and move into the hospital setting where there's a little bit more pressure?
Just reminding ourselves that
Yeah.
we made it this far.
Right, look how much you know
Yeah.
in 8 weeks.
Like recognizing that we're still nursing students, so like throwing ourselves out there to learn stuff and be able to practice, but still being able to watch other people do it, to learn from them.
I was talking to my doctor on the phone yesterday, and I was telling her how I was nervous about nursing school, things like that. She's also a family friend, so it wasn't like I was just talking about.
Okay.
Anyway. And she goes, you know what, Sydney, you're gonna do great. And she was like, you know what they call the nursing student that finished last in the class? And I was like, what? She goes, a nurse.
Nursing student. Oh,
A
yeah, a
nurse.
nurse.
A nurse.
Yes,
Oh, that's
yes,
fun.
that is awesome.
Because you finished.
That's right.
That's good.
That's right. Yeah. So we don't expect you to know everything. We don't expect you to not to be nervous. You're gonna have that whole wave of emotion whenever you go on, depending on where you are. And like Alexis said, we just ask to do whatever they'll show us. And you have practiced so many things, you've learned so many things, but you haven't always done them on a patient before. So what are we gonna say if they ask if you wanna put in a Foley?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Walk
That's
me
right.
through it.
Walk me through it. Absolutely, I do. I would love to. Will you please walk me through it? Yeah, and they will. They love to teach. Yeah, they really do. So.
Some patients are even excited to like be
Yeah.
involved in the learning process. Like with my diabetic patient, she always does her own insulin injections, but she
Mhm.
was like, I asked her if I could do it, and she was like, oh yeah, sure, hon, come over. So she just let me do it, and she's like, you did so good, because she normally does them herself, but she was still excited to let me do it.
We did a bunch of eye drops today, and I had a patient.
Nice.
He always wants hugs after getting the eye drops, no matter who it's from. So.
That
He
is.
was a tight hugger. Like I didn't expect it. He was strong. Kind of knocked me over. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
Anybody sad to leave the long
Yes.
term?
Kayla is very sad.
I am too. It's hard. So there's some residents that I saw today that I probably won't see when I take the juniors next year. That's always really sad. That's sad for me. Yeah. So what do you think, so I heard some of the staff talking about our Bethel students, that you guys are kind of set apart. What do you think sets you guys apart?
You guys?
Yeah.
So, no, but really.
No, but really.
No, but really.
I'm like, you guys are the ones that's teaching us and like giving us the confidence, because I mean, if we weren't being taught well, and we wouldn't have the confidence to be able to just step up and do that.
Yeah.
So it's
I feel
definitely,
prepared.
yeah, you guys make us feel prepared.
I was
It's also-
nervous that I was going to be nervous,
Mhm.
and every time I've done something in the long-term care
Clicks in.
facility, I just do it, and I'm not even nervous, and then I talk to the person afterwards, and then I leave the room. Like,
And then-
it's just,
And then you process it and you're like, did I really
like, I
just
just
do
did that.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, all of you care about every single one of us, so that causes you guys to want us to see us succeed and excel and.
We're gonna make her cry, guys.
I know. Stop. Okay, and scene. But you all carry yourselves differently. You really do. Whenever you see other nursing students from other programs, you will see a difference. You will see a difference. You guys are always smiling. You're in a good mood, even though you're tired and you want to go to sleep back there. I know you're ready for break. I know you are. I know you are. I know you are. But you all do. You carry yourselves differently. And I'm proud of all of you guys. So, okay. We're done.
I was like, leave.